Let's talk about West Ham United because they got a point at home yesterday after a late goal from Mohamed Kudus. A lack of ambition or no-brainer. Is Jarrod Bowen right to sign a 7-year deal at West Ham? Somebody else said that to me. I mean, the producers wrote that question on the running order. I can't believe how anyone would suggest that if you were given a deal as big as this, you wouldn't sign it. Why wouldn't you sign it? This is a brilliant deal for Jarrod Bowen, isn't it? It's a good deal for West Ham, showing their ambition.
Absolutely, and it takes him, I think, to his 33rd birthday. Very unusual for Premier League clubs now to give that kind of deal to somebody once they get into their 30s. I know he's not there yet, but he will be by the end of it. Obviously, he has become a bit of a West Ham icon, scored the goal that ended their long trophy drought. You were there, Sam, in Prague. He is in a relationship with the daughter of a celebrity West Ham fan. Why wouldn't he stay?
Well, they offered Declan Rice, didn't they? Something similar, maybe a 10-year deal. I think they offered Declan, and he didn't take it. So, yeah, I think there's nothing wrong with loyalty. There's nothing wrong with identifying people that you see as a part of the future. And he is, he's been an outstanding player for them. There's no doubt. He looks obviously a good type, gets his head down, plays his football, and is now a huge West Ham fan as player.
And he's earned himself a place in the international squad as well.
He did, and I wondered if it wasn't for him in terms of international football, the way that he didn't make the England squad last season, just before the World Cup, a decision seemed to be made on him. But Gareth Southgate always keeps the door open. I think it's good to have players in those positions. Be interesting to see if he plays this weekend against Australia.
He comes across a very genuine guy as well. If you look at the quotes, one of the things he said was that he wanted to reward the faith that West Ham had shown in him, because this is someone who's come all the way up via the pyramid. He was playing at Hereford, obviously Hull in the EFL as well, and I think that's genuine.
They spent a pretty penny on him, didn't they? I mean, at the time, £18 million is quite a lot of money to pay for him. Yeah,
it was for a player not proven in the Premier League, but I think it's shown to be money very well spent. He's worn the armband as well at times, so he's got those leadership qualities which they needed to replace when Declan Rice left the football club. There was some interest, as I understand it, from teams higher up the food chain, but if he goes to Liverpool, for example, is he a guaranteed starter? Is he going to be the main man at Anfield as he is at the London Stadium? My answer would be no.
Money also feels if something's happening at West Ham United. It's their best start to a top-flight season since 1983-84.
Buying good players, aren't they, as well? When you see really good quality players come through the door, Alvarez, I think, has been a revelation in that midfield. Paquetá staying, he's got that pass, that vision. Ward-Prowse as well, adding to the midfield. He's a bit of a noble, isn't he? The modern day noble in that midfield. So he's a really good team player, very underrated. And now, lots of assists, lots of involvements. So it's jogging along nicely now, isn't it, for David Moyes? Still able to keep that success in Europe, which has been a fantastic for them. Getting the balance right, dropped to 7th place, but still in and around it, and look like they can build from that.
You did the game on Thursday night, didn't you, against Freiburg? And I think you went into that game with Scott Minter live on TalkSPORT 2, thinking that was going to be the toughest test that they encountered in the group stage, and they ended up doing rather well in that match. Yeah,
it was comfortable, really, particularly the first half. They took an early lead. Bowen with a cross, brilliant header from Paquetá. And it was almost too easy. And as a result of that, I think they slackened off a bit, allowed Freiburg back into the game. But from a James Ward-Prowse set piece, Agued's headed in the winner. And they're 17 European games unbeaten. No team in English history has ever put together a run like that.
Remarkable.
A lot of it was in the Conference League last season, which is why Martin is maybe being a little bit dubious.
Not at all. No, I think it's a good success.
But the question I would ask...
Are you on your phone in the middle of a conversation, by the way, because you had to go at us for doing that?
No, I'm just checking. I was checking their midweek scoreline.
Because you said we were out of order for doing that.
Yeah. We're talking about a new contract for a player here. What about a new contract for a manager? Because it's an unusual scenario that David Moyes wins a European trophy.
Do you know, there's a lot of people thought he was going to leave at the end of last season.
And I think it was discussed. He stays, but he doesn't stay with a new contract.
Well, his contract runs out in the summer, doesn't it?
So surely those conversations have to be taking place now.
What are you thinking is going on there?
Well, I'd like to know that the manager's going to stay in situ. Obviously, for Bowen, it didn't seem to matter, but he'll trust the ownership. But I think David Moyes deserves credit because, we know that he's at the back end of his career, but I think he's getting ever better. He's actually showing improvements. Fantastic what they're doing in Europe, and he seems to be relishing the battle right now.
Indeed, he does. Where do you think they can finish this season?
Well, we're in that position. They'll be trying to get again, weren't they, back into Europe? So maybe a 6th place, 5th place is not beyond the realms, but they've got Villa to contend with, they've got Brighton to contend with. Will Chelsea re-emerge?
He's doing
will Manchester United?
Thank you.
Pep didn't do that. I'm going to mention them. Could they re-emerge? I don't think so.
They're only 5 points off the top four, and they've been dreadful. United.
I love
it's not a crisis.
That Pep won't talk about them for the title, but when talking about where West Ham will finish, Manchester United got brought into the conversation, and that made you happy.
Oh, that's a reflection of how the star has fallen, isn't it?
Look at his body language. He's got his arms folded. As soon as you mention Manchester United, look, that's better.
Look, he's starting to cramp up. Come on, chill out, relax. You had a good win at the weekend.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the TalkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. TalkSPORT.